"Grandma, why do you have that funny smell?" This sentence, spoken with innocence by a child, might seem like mere childish curiosity. But for Nancy Miller, 68 years old, it hit like a blow to the chest. The sweet voice of her granddaughter carried a painful truth that Nancy never wanted to admit. That little girl who used to run into her arms now avoided her hugs. She sat farther away on the couch. She turned her face when she got close. And even without harsh words, the look said it all. Something was wrong. That night, Nancy locked herself in her room, pulled the blanket up to her face, and cried quietly, alone. But this story, unfortunately, isn't just hers. My name is Dr. Henry Thompson. I've been a geriatric specialist for over 50 years and have cared for more than 10,000 patients throughout my career. And I'm here to tell you something no one has had the courage to say plainly. Maybe you've already felt it. Maybe you've noticed discreet glances or empty chairs around you at family gatherings. Maybe your grandchildren, like Nancy's, have started pulling away without an explanation. And you've wondered, what changed? Is it me? Yes, it might be, but not in the way you think. What you're about to discover isn't just a scientific explanation. It's a revelation that can transform your family interactions, your self-esteem, and your presence in the lives of the people you love. Before I go on, I'd like to ask you something simple. If this content touches you, helps you, or makes you reflect, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll get more content like this, made especially for you, and you'll be able to help others recover something precious: the affection, contact, and respect of their family. Now let's get back to Nancy's story. When she came to me, her eyes carried the exhaustion of someone who had already tried everything. She showered every day, used expensive perfumes and creams, changed her clothes regularly. And still, people kept their distance. It wasn't her fault. Just like it wasn't George Carter's fault, a 73-year-old man who told me something similar. My son brought friends over, and I heard one of them say the living room smelled heavy. Since then, I've never felt comfortable around them. George, a meticulous, clean, and proud man, started avoiding visitors. He shut himself off. The pain of feeling rejected, even without words, is one of the worst an elderly person can experience. But what's behind all this? The answer lies in the human body itself. As the years go by, the body undergoes subtle but profound changes. The first is a reduction in perspiration. Sounds good, right? After all, sweating less avoids body odor. Wrong. Sweat actually helps remove toxins from the skin. When we sweat less, those toxins build up, creating an ideal environment for bacteria. And that's when the smell intensifies. The second change is in sebum, the skin's natural oil. As we age, its composition shifts, and it starts producing a substance called 2-nonenal. This compound is responsible for what's popularly known as old person smell. And no matter how many showers you take or how much perfume you use, if you don't know how to target this substance directly, the odor will persist. Worse still, strong perfumes only mask it, creating an uncomfortable mix that's even more noticeable. And there's a third change almost no one mentions: reduced saliva production. Yes, dry mouth, common in old age, increases bacterial growth and causes bad breath. Linda Harris, 69, told me, "I brush my teeth, but I still feel a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want to talk to my grandkids up close anymore." And this affects not just self-esteem, but the quality of family relationships. Maybe you're hearing all this and thinking, so there's no solution? There is. And it's much simpler and more accessible than you might imagine. With small changes to your daily routine, you can eliminate up to 90% of age-related body odor. This isn't an empty promise. It's the result of clinical studies and decades of experience with thousands of patients. George Carter is proof of that. After applying my method, he came back to the clinic weeks later with a smile on his face. "Doctor, my grandson hugged me again. He said my house smells nice." It wasn't magic. It was science applied with care and respect. The first thing I recommend is changing how you clean yourself. Showering isn't enough. You need to know where and how to wash. The smell of old age builds up mainly in overlooked areas. Behind the ears, the nape of the neck, armpits, between the toes, behind the knees, groin, and navel. These spots trap sebum, sweat, and bacteria. If they're not scrubbed well, they'll keep giving off an odor even after a shower. Tom Harris, 62, told me, "I never imagined washing behind my ears would make such a difference. Now even my dog stays close to me." He laughed, but deep down, he was relieved. Because that innocent comment from Nancy's granddaughter, which seemed small, can shatter an elderly person's self-esteem. The second step is hydration. Most older adults don't drink enough water, and without enough water, the body can't flush out toxins. Margaret Adams, 72, said she started drinking 6 glasses of warm water a day. It was tough at first, but she got used to it, and her family noticed the difference. My grandson said, "Grandma, you smell like flowers now," she shared, moved. You can feel that change too. Just build a habit. 1 glass when you wake up, 1 before and after lunch, 1 in the afternoon, 1 before dinner, and 1 before bed. Simple as that. And remember, coffee, black tea, and alcohol don't count. On the contrary, they dehydrate you and intensify the smell. Cut back on those drinks or, if possible, eliminate them. Swap them for barley tea, natural infusions, or plain water. Your body will thank you, and so will your grandkids. Now that you understand where the problem comes from, you can start taking action. But we're not done yet. In the next section, I'll show you the rest of the complete method. The foods that naturally reduce body odor. The mistakes you need to avoid in the shower, the clothing and shoe care tips few people know about, and an essential trick to keep your home always smelling fresh and welcoming, without spending almost anything. This is your chance to reclaim your confidence, your presence in family life, and your joy of living. If you've made it this far, congratulations. It shows you care about your well-being and are willing to transform your life with simple steps. But there are still important points you need to know, and one of them is directly tied to what you eat. Yes, your diet has a huge impact on your natural body odor. Foods high in saturated fat, fried items, processed meats, and excess sugar leave toxins in your system. And guess how the body tries to get rid of them? Through the skin. On the other hand, antioxidant-rich foods like berries, apples, tomatoes, cucumbers, brown rice, and leafy greens help cleanse the body and naturally reduce body odor. Bet Carter, 60, told me that after she started eating a tomato and an apple a day, her husband remarked that she smelled better. It seems like magic, but it's physiology. The body is like a mirror. What you put in shows up on the outside, and don't think you need to change everything at once. Start small. Add a piece of fruit to breakfast. Swap white bread for whole grain. Cut back on red meat and pile more veggies on your plate. Your body will thank you. And your grandkids, when they get closer, will too. Another valuable tip is in your oral hygiene routine. Brushing your teeth 3 times a day is essential, but it's not enough. Most of the bacteria that cause bad breath hide on the tongue. That's why using a tongue scraper every morning can make a huge difference. Linda Parker, 83, told me, "I thought it was weird at first, but now I can't live without it. My breath is so much better, and my great-grandson keeps giving me kisses on the cheek." Plus, chewing sugar-free gum helps stimulate saliva production, especially helpful for those with dry mouth, something common after 60. Saliva plays a key role in oral cleansing, and its absence paves the way for odor-causing bacteria. Another critical point: overusing scented colognes and deodorants. Many older adults, noticing a strong odor, try to cover it with perfume, but that's a mistake. Perfume doesn't eliminate odor. It just masks it temporarily, and most of the time it makes the problem worse, creating an even more unpleasant mix. It's like spraying air freshener in a dirty bathroom. The good smell mixes with the bad, and the result is uncomfortable. The right approach is to tackle the root of the problem, not disguise it. Now let's talk about clothes, a detail often overlooked, but with a huge impact. Clothes trap sweat, body oils, and dead skin cells, even after a thorough shower. So change your underwear daily, and your shirts every 2 uses at most. Opt for natural fabrics like cotton, which absorb sweat and let your skin breathe. Synthetic fabrics tend to trap odor and worsen body smell. Paul King, 69, told me, "I used to wear the same shirt for 2 or 3 days thinking it was fine. After I started changing every day, even my daughter-in-law said my smell improved. Also, wash your clothes with mild soap and, if possible, dry them in the sun. Sunlight kills bacteria and helps remove embedded odors." Speaking of fabrics, we can't ignore bedding. You spend about a third of your day on pillows, sheets, and blankets. If they're not washed often, they collect sweat, sebum, and dead skin cells. That turns into a breeding ground for bacteria, and the smell soon takes over the room. The recommendation is simple. Change sheets and pillowcases weekly. Wash pillows and blankets regularly, and, if possible, air them out in the sun. Linda Parker, 75, told me she thought washing sheets every week was overkill. But when I started, I noticed how much fresher the room felt, and now my grandkids even sleep over sometimes. Simple changes make a huge difference. And there's more. Feet. Oh, the feet. Often forgotten, they're one of the biggest culprits of bad odors. They spend the day trapped in shoes, with sweat building up between the toes. So, wash your feet carefully, scrubbing between the toes and drying them well before putting on socks. Use cotton socks and change them daily, and never wear the same pair of shoes 2 days in a row. Rotate pairs so they can dry out and breathe. A simple, effective trick is to sprinkle some baking soda inside your shoes at night. It absorbs sweat and odor. John Miller, 68, did exactly that and told me, "Before, no one wanted me to take my shoes off near them. Now, I even joke around with my grandkids, and they don't complain." Such a simple care, but with immediate results. Lastly, let's talk about the house. Believe it or not, the smell we perceive in our surroundings also affects how people perceive us. And elderly folks who keep windows shut tight out of fear of the cold end up creating stuffy spaces where body odors linger. The solution? Air out the rooms twice a day, morning and late afternoon, for at least 10 minutes. Let the air circulate, refresh, breathe. Fred Taylor, 71, hated the cold and avoided opening windows. But after I started airing things out, my daughter-in-law doesn't complain anymore. The room feels like a different place. You can do it too. It's free, and it works. Do you see now how real the problem is, but also how the solution is within your reach? The old age smell isn't a sentence. It's not a punishment, and it's definitely not your fault. It's a set of natural factors that can be tackled with knowledge, care, and small daily actions. Drink more water. Eat better. Wash the right areas carefully. Air out the house. Care for your mouth. Change clothes more often. None of this costs money, just awareness. Margaret Adams, 62, told me with tears in her eyes, "Doctor, after 2 months following your tips, my grandson sat on my lap again. He even fell asleep leaning on me last week. It was the best moment of my year." And that's why I'm committed to sharing all this with you. Because aging doesn't have to mean loneliness, isolation, or embarrassment. You can and should live with dignity, affection, and presence. Your smell can be one of care, warmth, a grandma's hug. All it takes is starting now. To recap, here's what you can do starting today. Drink 6 glasses of warm water a day, especially upon waking. Walk 20 minutes a day in gentle sunlight before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. Shower daily, focusing on hidden areas: neck, armpits, groin, feet, behind the ears. Use mild soap and warm water, never too hot. Moisturize your skin after bathing. Brush your teeth and use a tongue scraper. Avoid strong perfumes and colognes. Opt for real hygiene. Eat antioxidant-rich natural foods. Avoid excess coffee and alcohol. Change clothes and underwear daily. Wash bedding weekly and dry it in the sun. Care for your shoes, rotate them often, and use baking soda. Air out the house twice a day. These are the tools you have now, and they're powerful. Use them, feel the difference, live the difference. If this video helped you in any way, like, comment, and share it with someone else who needs this information. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now and turn on the bell. I'm Dr. Henry Thompson, and I'll be here every week with tips, guidance, and advice that can transform your quality of life. You deserve to live well. You deserve your family's affection. You deserve to be hugged, for real. And it all starts with one step. How about starting today? See you in the next video.